New series, Tea with Friends. In this series, I'm having tea with more than one friend and getting those friends' feedback on their ratings for our afternoon tea. For this first Tea with Friends edition, we have a Niagara-On-The-Lake tea venue. Niagara-On-The-Lake is less than an hour from Buffalo, New York for my American followers. On this adventure, we tried a new afternoon tea offering in this very touristy town at the Hob Nob restaurant inside the Charles Hotel. More and more teas are popping up in the Niagara region, and this is one of the newer ones. Let's have tea with friends. We liked this venue. All of the rooms I saw on the main floor were different dining rooms, and our tea was in this enclosed glass porch, which was a nice setting for afternoon tea. The tables were nicely appointed with lots of utensils and faux linens. We also had 3 lovely teacups, especially this one. Beautiful. The food looked great on the plate. Very full, being tea for 3 guests. Lots of fresh fruit and edible flowers. We were all impressed with how appealing everything looked. We all agreed that the table setting and food appeal was 10 out of 10. This menu allowed you to choose a version of afternoon tea. My 2 tea friends chose the traditional afternoon tea offering, and to mix things up, I chose the Elizabeth tea, which included a plate of Canadian cheeses. We shared the plate between the 3 of us. However, it was delivered to us at the same time as all of our food. The cheese and crackers were all fine taste-wise, but really should have been served about 8 to 10 minutes before our afternoon tea plate was served, so we could have enjoyed the cheeses on their own as a type of appetizer. Timing was off here. The tea situation was a bit unique too, in that in order to get a good quality loose-leaf tea, you have to pay a $3 surcharge. The tea that is included in the afternoon tea base price would be either Twinings or Twinings or Higgins and Burke tea bags. This was clearly displayed on the menu, and the server went through each of the loose-leaf tea options to tell us about them. It was a very thorough explanation, but this was kind of an odd choice to have a surcharge for the good stuff. We all agreed that proper quality loose-leaf tea should always be included in whatever your price is. There is no need for Twinings or Higgins and Burke to be served at afternoon tea in Ontario. Higgins and Burke is actually the tea brand that McDonald's serves in Ontario. Not quality. I didn't want to upgrade my tea as I had already upgraded my food, so I had the Twinings Earl Grey. My 2 tea friends chose the Charles Earl Grey for the $3 upcharge. Despite the upcharge, tea friends agreed that the Charles Earl Grey tea tasted good. On to the food. The server took time to note that one of us was a pescatarian and one of us, that would be me, did not want any seafood. But the Savories delivered ended up including only 2 cucumber sandwiches and 1 egg salad croissant per person, making our food requests a moot point. Both items tasted good. We all agreed that it was odd to only have 2 types of sandwiches. What happened to a 3rd or 4th different variety? Was there a mix-up in the kitchen? As far as we know, we were the only tea guests on this day, but we had booked our reservation more than 2 weeks in advance, so they knew we were coming. So a bit odd on the Savories. This isn't normal. Here's what my tea friends thought, and myself. Mandy, how do you rate your Savory tier?
I would say 2 out of 5.
Ruth, how would you rate the Savory tier?
I would say 6 out of 10.
And I give the Savory tier 2 out of 5. On the sweet tier, we each received a large pistachio cake, a butter tart, a chocolate brownie, a donut, which was sitting with the scone, and 2 macarons. This was ample in terms of desserts. The pistachio cake was quite large for afternoon tea, but tasted fine. I can't imagine anyone being able to eat all of this. The donut was fresh and tasted good. For the brownie, I found it to be underbaked, or maybe it was a flourless brownie, but I didn't enjoy the consistency. However, I love that they've included a chocolate item. Woohoo for that! We were told a couple of times that everything is made in-house. And I'm pretty sure these are commercial macarons, like maybe even the Costco ones. The inside of the butter tart tasted good, but the shell reminded me of a commercial tart shell that's available through Restaurant Supply. So if everything isn't made in-house, it's probably best not to say that it is, because then we just scrutinize it further, looking to make sure that it's true. My tea friends did not rate their sweets tier because they only tried one or two of the items by the time we left the venue. They were going to finish their sweets at home. For our favorite bites, I am happy to report that the scones were the yummy bites here. Each guest got 2 scones, a savory scone and a sweet scone. You know I love when 2 scones are served per guest. The scones were a flaky type scone with multiple layers. The outside had a nice crisp bits of texture and the insides were not too dry. Well done! These are my tea friends topping their sweet scones. Between us, we were served 2 helpings of creme fraiche, 2 jars of jams, and 3 helpings of butter. We asked for a 3rd helping of cream so we didn't have to share it, but we were left to share the jam jars. When I tasted the creme fraiche, I was not impressed. I tried it on the savory scone and it tasted like putting sour cream on a scone. Blasphemy! It did not taste good. These 2 tea ladies were okay with the creme fraiche when it was eaten with the jam on the sweet scone, but agreed that the cream did not taste good on its own. So be sure to mix this creamy concoction with lots of jam. For me, this savory scone was delicious with butter, and that's how I indulged. So while the scones impressed us, the accompaniment situation was not great here. Hear me out again. Real, clotted cream, to be served at afternoon tea. Thank you. I'm rating the scone tier a 3.5 out of 5. How about you, Ruth?
I would rate it 7 out of 10.
Mandy, how did you feel about the scone tier?
4 out of 5. It could have been a 5 out of 5 if the accompaniments had had 1 jam per person instead of 2 for 3 people and proper clotted cream.
At Hob Nob, traditional afternoon tea costs $55 per person. Adding the cheese plate was $10. This is the same price as Prince of Wales Hotel down the street, which has been serving afternoon tea for decades, so let's assume that this is the going rate in this tourist town. Okay, sure. Overall, mainly influenced by the few missteps, but assisted by the lovely scones we were served, my Queen of Afternoon Tea rating is 3 out of 5 stars. I texted tea friends later after they had tried their sweets to get their final ratings. And Mandy's final score was also 3 out of 5 because she was perturbed about the homemade sweet announcements, but not feeling the homemade love from some of the items. And Ruth's final score was 3 out of 5. I wonder if these tea friends watch my channels. We all seem to agree. And you, have you tried Hob Nob yet? Would you go there to have tea with friends? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please like this video and follow and subscribe if you want to see more tea reviews. Thanks for joining me and my tea friends today.